Welcome to the backrooms level. What the hell? So, if anybody's curious, it's a Google Street View. I wanted to bring up something really short and not so sweet about the YouTube and internet phenomenon, the backrooms, and more importantly, how people perceive it as a place you go through and, quote, no clip. We're going to do the pretty obvious example here of me moving around, and yeah, it has an actual location. It's a real-world place. But I want to point out, unless you're dealing with computer technology or whatever, no clipping isn't really a thing. In the physical world, it would be the equivalent to falling through a trap door or whatever. But if anybody's curious about it, in this environment, when we click this, that does no clip us right through that window into this room. It was seen from the inside or from the outside. That's the thing is that the cultural impact of video games is obviously where the term no clip was borrowed from when it comes to the back rooms. But another thing about it is the exploration of emptied spaces like this is slightly influenced, if not very, very much influenced, by people attempting to get environments where there aren't people. If you're not aware of it, Google's Street View, and in fact many companies that do any kind of imaging, will go out of their way to omit people by taking a series of photos or a video recording of an area, 360 or otherwise, and then collect all the images that don't include people by doing a real quick utility on it that looks for any images that are static. And then what happens is that if you look at a Google Street View or sometimes promotional photos or videos, what they'll do is they'll turn the entire background into maybe even an animated three-dimensional environment with all the trimmings. And what they do is it's composed of a composite of all the images where people weren't there. So you'll see ghost-like shimmering and all sorts of things. Some of you might have seen that in videos where someone was trying to film in a place and make sure that it had, no people in it. Because that gets rid of your need to get people's, consent forms filled out or whatever. If the end production doesn't include their information, it's totally filtered out using an AI routine or just using a video editing utility that knows how to do it, then they don't have to worry about as many legal problems. This environment here, for instance, this is an actual very large arrangement of buildings that contain lots of indoor spaces that are made to look like outside to have an environmentally controlled experience at a resort. And what they did here is instead of censoring, by the way, that isn't censoring, that's just where they screwed up and decided to say to heck with it and just clean it up by covering it up. Instead of censoring people out and making it obvious they were there, they just run this as a video recording continually until they get all of the images they need to knit together with no people in it. And again, if you were to look at a video, you'd see ghost-like apparitions moving around. This has been seen mostly, but not entirely, in documentaries. I've seen this only in one. And, in soap operas and dramas for, made-for-TV movies and that sort of thing, where they'll go out to a beach that normally is crowded and film it on the least crowded day possible and just let the computer routines edit all the people out so they don't have to have any consent forms. It's responsible for causing one movie or TV show or another that I saw a documentary on having to take longer because of it. Now, the other thing is, this makes it, as long as you click once and shake the mouse around, like this makes this a really good first-person shooter style thing, pun intended, sorry. By the way, neat glass case for your fire extinguisher. To where you can move around in an environment that's not really virtual. This is a real environment, and make a click, turn-based click-through type video game out of it. This has been done repeatedly on the internet by people using Google Maps and Google Street View and Google Spheres, which is what this is based on. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that one of the weird little things about the internet is the legacy and cultural impact When you see it, you shit bricks. Anyway, seriously, a giant duck? Anyway, the cultural impact of technology has on our aesthetics about things. Remember that a while back there used to be something called C-Punk, where it was based on the aesthetics of how the internet looked during the era of Windows 95 being the dominant operating system and Internet Explorer that being the dominant web browser. That it caused all sorts of changes in society and culture and art simply because of limitations of computers and technology. And because of legal limitations, we get environments like this where I'm going to leave a link to this, but if you look around, you'll eventually see where a person was walking or standing, and they edit it out. You won't see it in the reflections necessarily, but you might see the ghosts in the water. Or maybe somebody swimming. You'll have to go looking. Anyway, I like places like this because, I mean, good God, the aesthetic of it is screaming, needing to be made into a game level. In fact, I might do it just because it's a good exercise for my almost non-existent chops as being a game editing geek, which I used to be at one time. What was that? Was that a person? We'll never know. And I also want to point out my expression that I use in video. Excuse me, I turned 14 there for a second. My expression that I use in videos of tunneling when you go through a map are based on the same idea. Tunneling is a pseudonym for time warping or time-space warping from a couple of sci-fi books. I use that expression all the time. I tunneled from point A to point B in a map because that's the closest approximation I can give it. Anyway, just thought I'd bring this up as just a nice little video for the day. I felt like making a normalish video and not having any weird or scary content or topical or, you know, any content that makes my blood boil is not needed right now. But anyway, seriously. Oh, there we go. That wasn't there a minute ago. Okay, so we got one human and one duck. I guess I missed one. How many others were here? Look for the shadows. Look for the shadow people. Look for the ghosts. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Link below in the description. Good luck. You'll need it.